Your colleague asks you to take on another project. You're already overwhelmed, but you hear yourself say yes. Your friend invites you to an event you don't want to attend. You feel exhausted just thinking about it, but you say yes. Your family member needs a favor. You have nothing left to give, but you say yes. Then you lie awake that night, resentful and exhausted, wondering why you keep doing this to yourself. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Most of us struggle to set boundaries, and when we do manage to say no, we're immediately flooded with guilt. I'm being selfish. I'm letting them down. A good person would have said yes. Here's what you need to know. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are not mean. Boundaries are the foundation of healthy relationships, sustainable work, and your own mental health. Welcome to the Health Sketchpad. I'm Dr. AB. In this whiteboard guide, we're going to learn how to set boundaries without feeling guilty. We'll explore why boundaries are so hard. We'll break down the different types of boundaries, and we'll give you practical scripts and strategies to say no with clarity and compassion. Before we learn how to set boundaries, we need to understand what boundaries actually are and what they aren't. Boundaries are not walls. They're not about keeping people out or pushing people away. They're not selfish, mean, or unloving. That's the guilt talking. A boundary is simply a clear line around your time, your energy, your emotional resources, your physical body, and your personal values. Think of it like property lines. Your neighbor isn't offended that you have a fence. They understand that your yard is yours and their yard is theirs. The fence doesn't mean you don't like them. It just means you both know where the line is. Healthy boundaries are flexible, not rigid. Sometimes you open the gate, sometimes you close it. You decide based on your capacity, your values, and the situation. The problem is that many of us were never taught how to set boundaries. We were taught to be nice, to be helpful, to put others first, to never say no. These are good intentions, but without boundaries, they lead to burnout, resentment, and broken relationships. Boundaries protect relationships. They prevent you from becoming so depleted that you have nothing left to give. They allow you to show up as your best self, not your exhausted, resentful self. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about deciding who gets in and on what terms. If setting boundaries feels impossibly hard, there's likely a reason. You weren't born afraid to say no. You learned it. Let's look at the roots of people-pleasing. First, fear of rejection. Many of us believe that if we say no, people will leave. They'll stop liking us. They'll find someone more accommodating. This fear is often rooted in early experiences where love felt conditional. Second, fear of conflict. Some of us learned that saying no leads to fighting, yelling, or punishment. So we learned to say yes to keep the peace. Third, low self-worth. If you don't believe you deserve to have your needs met, boundaries feel selfish. You put everyone else's needs ahead of your own because you've internalized the message that you matter less. Fourth, childhood conditioning. Maybe you grew up in a home where your feelings weren't valued, where you were expected to be good, which meant compliant, quiet, and accommodating. That pattern follows you into adulthood. Fifth, the fawn trauma response. Some people respond to threat by pleasing. If you grew up in an unpredictable or unsafe environment, you may have learned that keeping others happy kept you safe. Your nervous system still believes that. None of these are your fault, but understanding them is the first step toward changing them. Boundaries aren't just about saying no to social invitations. There are 4 types, and you may struggle with some more than others. First, time boundaries. These protect your schedule. They mean not overcommitting, not saying yes to every request, and honoring your need for rest. A time boundary sounds like, I can help you for 30 minutes, but then I need to leave. Second, emotional boundaries. These separate your feelings from other people's feelings. You are not responsible for managing anyone else's emotions. A healthy emotional boundary sounds like, I can hear that you're upset, but I'm not going to take responsibility for fixing it. Third, physical boundaries. These protect your body and personal space. They include saying no to unwanted touch, needing personal space, and honoring your physical comfort. A physical boundary sounds like, I'm not comfortable with hugs, I prefer a handshake. Fourth, material boundaries. These protect your possessions, money, and resources. A material boundary sounds like, I'm not able to lend you money right now. You may be great at time boundaries but terrible at emotional boundaries, or vice versa. Knowing where you struggle is the first step. Many of us avoid boundaries because we're afraid of the short-term discomfort of saying no. But we don't consider the long-term cost of saying yes to everything. Here's what happens when you have no boundaries. First, exhaustion. You're constantly giving, always on, never resting. Your energy depletes, and you have nothing left for yourself. Second, resentment. You start to feel angry at the people you're helping. They didn't do anything wrong. You said yes, but you resent them anyway because you're depleted. Resentment is the clearest signal that you need a boundary. Third, avoidance. You start hiding from people. You don't answer texts. You screen calls. You cancel plans. You're not protecting your time. You're running from relationships because you don't know how to say no. Fourth, relationship damage. Eventually, the resentment and avoidance damage your relationships. People feel confused. They don't know why you're pulling away. The relationship suffers more than it would have if you just set a boundary early. Fifth, burnout. Complete physical, emotional, and mental collapse. You can't function. You can't help anyone. You can't even help yourself. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're sustainable. You can't pour from an empty cup. Now let's get practical. Here's a simple 3-step formula for setting any boundary. Step 1. Name your limit. Before you can communicate a boundary, you have to know what you need. Where is your line? What is your capacity right now? This requires self-awareness. Pause. Check in with yourself. I have only 30 minutes for this call. I can't lend money right now. I need tonight to rest. Step 2. State it clearly. This is where most people get stuck. They over-explain, apologize, or soften the boundary so much that it's not actually a boundary. Clear is kind. A clear boundary sounds like, I can't take on that project right now. I need to leave by 7 p.m. I'm not comfortable discussing that. Notice there's no I'm sorry, no long excuse, no justification, just the boundary. Step 3. Release the outcome. This is the hardest part. You cannot control how someone reacts to your boundary. They might be disappointed, they might be angry, they might push back. Their feelings are not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to state your boundary clearly and kindly. What they do with it is up to them. Repeating this formula takes practice. The first time you say no clearly, it will feel terrifying. The 10th time, it will feel natural. The 100th time, it will feel like freedom. Sometimes the hardest part is finding the words. Here are scripts for common situations. Borrow them until you find your own voice. For work overload, I'm at capacity right now. I can't take on another project. If they push, I appreciate you thinking of me. I'll let you know when my load lightens. For social invitations, I need to rest tonight. I won't be able to make it. You don't need to fake an illness. I need to rest is a complete sentence. For emotional dumping, I care about you, but I don't have the energy for this conversation right now. Can we talk tomorrow? This is kind and clear. For money requests, I'm not able to lend money right now. No explanation needed. I'm not able to is enough. For personal questions, I'm not comfortable discussing that, or I'd rather not talk about that. For family obligations, I won't be able to make it to dinner this weekend. I'll see you at the next one. For a friend who always needs favors, I've noticed I'm feeling stretched thin lately. I need to step back from some of the ways I've been helping. I love you, but I need to take care of myself too. Remember, you don't need to jade, justify, argue, defend, or explain. A clear no is kinder than a resentful yes. Here's the reality. Not everyone will respect your boundaries. Some people will push back. That doesn't mean your boundary is wrong. It means they're used to you not having one. When someone pushes back, here's what to do. First, the broken record technique. Calmly repeat your boundary without adding new explanation. They ask why. You repeat, I'm just not able to right now. They push again. You repeat, I understand you're disappointed, but I'm not able to. You don't need to justify, you just repeat. Second, name the pushback. I hear that you're frustrated. I'm still not able to do that. Naming their emotion shows you hear them without changing your boundary. Third, offer an alternative if appropriate. I can't help with that, but I can help with this instead. Only offer an alternative if you genuinely want to. Fourth, end the conversation if needed. I've told you what I can do. If that doesn't work for you, I understand. I need to go now. You have the right to end conversations that become disrespectful. Here's what not to do. Don't over-explain. Don't apologize for having a need. Don't take responsibility for their feelings. Don't give in just to avoid discomfort. Some people will push back. That's okay. Your job is to stay clear, stay kind, and stay firm. Even when you set a perfect boundary, guilt often shows up. That's normal. Guilt is not a sign that you did something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something new. Here's a protocol for managing boundary guilt. First, name the feeling. Say to yourself, I notice guilt. That's it. Don't push it away. Don't spiral into it. Just notice it. Ah, there's guilt. I remember this feeling. Second, question the thought behind the guilt. Guilt usually comes from a belief. Good people never say no. I should always be available. If I set a boundary, I'm selfish. Ask yourself, is that belief true? Is it kind? Is it serving you? Where did you learn it? Third, remind yourself why you set the boundary. What was the cost of no boundary? Exhaustion? Resentment? Burnout? You set this boundary to protect your health, your relationships, and your ability to show up as your best self. That's not selfish, that's responsible. Fourth, practice self-compassion. Place your hand on your heart. Say to yourself, I am allowed to have needs. I am allowed to protect my energy. I am not responsible for everyone else's feelings. I am doing the best I can. Guilt fades with practice. The more you set boundaries and see that nothing terrible happens, the quieter the guilt becomes. Trust the process. Let's bring this all together. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are not mean. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. Boundaries are an act of self-respect. They say, I matter, my time matters, my energy matters, my well-being matters. When you set a boundary, you're not just protecting yourself, you're protecting your ability to show up fully in your relationships. You're preventing the resentment that comes from overgiving. You're choosing sustainability over burnout. The guilt will be there at first. That's okay, feel it, question it, act anyway. Start small. Set one boundary this week. Maybe it's leaving an event when you're tired. Maybe it's saying no to one request. Maybe it's taking 10 minutes for yourself before answering emails. Notice what happens. Usually nothing terrible, often relief. You deserve to say yes when you choose and no when you need to. You deserve to protect your energy. You deserve peace. Boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges to healthier relationships, starting with the relationship you have with yourself. You've got this.